everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Spartan Sports Report. We've got Brent and Duncan with us, along with head coach of the Connersville Spartans, Kerry Brown. And guys, big weekend this past weekend, Coach. Sectional championship. It was very sweet down there at Greensburg.
A lot of fun. A lot of memories been created this past week. Just, we went from thinking we were going to get beat on Friday night. A lot of people, I think, thought so with about 1:30 to go in the game, to coming back Saturday night and unexpected in some people's minds, beating Greensburg on their home floor for the second time this year, winning the conference championship and then winning the sectional championship. So a lot of emotions from Friday night to the end of Saturday night.
I'm sure it was. And 60th sectional championship overall for the Connersville Spartans. So that's quite a milestone, I think, and great that you and our kids are part of that.
Well, it's good to carry on the tradition that dates goes way back before any of us, but we know about it. So I think that's a part of who we are.
Good crowd on hand on Saturday night especially. Friday night's a little difficult when the game starts at 5:30 to get people off work, but Spartan Nation was there, and I know the kids feed off that.
Yeah, our student section was loud and proud, and if they only sold 1,000 tickets to each school, I thought it looked like there was a little bit more than that there. Mm-hmm. So, again, our fans are to be congratulated for the support and the turnout that they provided for us and our kids, and helping provide those memories for them.
Over the years, when we've been successful, it seems like we have one bad game in the tournament in the sectional. We're going to count that South Dearborn one as that bad one, although we won. It allowed us to move on, but your kids did what they needed to do on Friday night to down 5 with minutes something to go, and defense and calls and turnovers turn that game around.
Well, I think you have to be able to win even when you don't play your best, and I think that's a mark of a good team. And we had talked about that, by chance, that even if we don't have our best game, if we defend, if we play harder than they do, if we rebound, we'll still have a chance to ultimately be successful. And that kind of happened Friday night. And if I think back to last year's sectional, I thought Greensburg, I don't remember if it was their first game or which game it was, but I don't know that they had their best game and they were able to come out on top with a championship. My hat's off to South Dearborn, their players, their coaches, but someone's got to win and someone's got to lose, and our kids stepped up. I'm very proud of them. They made the plays down the stretch, because with 1.5 minutes to go, we're down 5 points, and it wasn't looking good, but we got some steals and converted those. They were over-guarding Jonah's shot, and he drove it to the basket and scored himself, and then he also drove it to the rim and found Cole Martin for another important layup, and we got a stop to win the game. I think they got 2 shots at it, but we finally got a stop, and it's just about surviving and advancing in the tournament. There's no style points. Nobody cares how pretty it is. You just survive and advance, and then we came back Saturday night and led from start to finish. Never trailed in the game. I'd talked to you before the game, and I thought we could win by 1. And I'll be honest, they were that good. I thought they could beat us by double figures. And I was wrong on both counts, but I was still right and still happy when the night was over with, as we had a 14-point lead. They hit a 3 there at the end to make it 11, but never would have imagined that we would have beat them on their home floor. That's just how much respect I have for them, their talent, their coaching. And they've been the best team in southeastern Indiana for the last few years.
To be able to do it twice on their floor this season, I think that says something as well.
Yeah, and I don't know if they thought we could beat them twice. Most important thing was our kids believed that we could, and ultimately we, were able to accomplish that. And I think it talks about our team, and that we were a team, because we took one boy out of the starting lineup, and his response to that was, he could have sulked and pouted and been selfish, but instead his response to that was, he told one of the assistants, he said, whatever's best for the team. That was Gage Brown. Mm-hmm. And the boy we put in his place, the young man, was Braxton Myers. And Braxton made the coaches look good. He ended up with 12 points. He guarded their best player, along with help from James Williams. And, James hadn't got a whole lot of playing time last few games, but it was situational. What the situation dictated was that we needed to guard their best player, and we feel like two of the guys that do that the best for us, at least that type of player, was Braxton Myers and James Williams. And Gage was a great teammate. He said whatever's best for the team, and then he got his opportunities and chances. Cole got hurt in the game and didn't play as much as maybe he would have, and Gage played those minutes, and it was a total team effort. And I think that's why we ultimately were victorious in the sectional, because there were moments in the season, possessions in the season where we probably were a little bit selfish, but ultimately our kids are on board with what we were trying to accomplish as a team, and they put their individual agendas made them secondary to what the team agenda and goals were.
People I've talked to around town talk about the defense and the tenacity of our guys. Our broadcast associates from the other communities after the game talked about that as well, that defense carried the day, as it usually does for us.
I don't know, because you play different teams every year, and some are better and worse. But this is one of our better defensive teams. As I went back and was looking, we've only given up 50 or more points twice this season. I'd be hard-pressed to find another season where that was the case. Right now, we're number 2 in the state in terms of defensive scoring average. I think a better barometer is points per possession, and our goal is always 0.8 or less for them. Our goal offensively is 1.0 or better offensively, and obviously you're going to be successful if you can meet those goals. Yes. But, I think this was a good defensive team. Again, they had to be on board. They had to buy in. And then we had to go out and execute. And they did a great job of that. And, it has to happen again this next week for us to be successful.
We'll talk a little more about this week in a minute. Let's bring Brent in and talk a little bit, Brent, about some of the what you're doing right now to get ready for regional coming up. I know you're going to have a lot of tickets to distribute to the community.
Yeah, Coach and I drove down to Washington yesterday for a meeting, so we had a nice little 6-hour car trip together for an hour meeting.
I'm glad you two get along.
Very informative. It helps that you've known each other for 30-plus years in your lifetime. So, no, we brought home 2,000 tickets yesterday. We put them out to we set out aside amount for our kids that they had requested from last week. Today we opened it up till 4 o'clock today for anyone that had an all-sport ticket. And starting tomorrow at 8:30, it's first come, first served. So whoever wants a ticket, come out to the athletic office tomorrow from 8:30 to 4 o'clock and purchase your regional ticket. We started with 1,000, and I said, what if I run out? And he said, well, you can come back and get more. And I said, well, I'll just take a little bit more with me when I go.
So they gave you.
So I said, well, I thought we were only going to get 1,500 total. And he said, if you sell all 2,000, I want your people in the gym. So if you feel like you want to make the drive to Washington, come out tomorrow on Thursday and pick up your ticket. Be happy to sell them to you. They're not vouchers this time. They're actual tickets, so you will have to pay $8 per ticket, and that's for kindergarten through adult. So,
and when we win, they'll have to go stand in line to get tickets for the championship game.
Yeah, the ticket that you get tomorrow, they're not doing the all-session passes anymore because they're going to clean the gym out once we win, or I'll say as we normally do, if we win. You'll leave the gym. Their old high school gym, which is now their junior high gym, is attached to the building on the west side, right next to gate 1. They'll have lines set up in there where you can go right in from the game and go right into the gym and not leave and purchase your ticket for the night game. And again, it's going to cost you another additional $8. It's cheap, cheap entertainment.
Yes, it is.
If you enjoy sports and in support of our student athletes at Connersville High School.
Hatchet House, a big place, seats about 6,900. We think we have a great venue here. We're listed at 5847, but that's when we had the temporary bleachers in, and so been a while since we've had that many people in there. But Hatchet House seats 6,900 people.
Yeah, and they've been blue for a while, but to help appease their health department and keep everything in, they've not opened it up to full capacity. But he didn't set a number on what the limit was for this weekend either. So. As long as our fans, as he said, our fans and our fan base can get in, he's okay with that. So,
well, he's probably heard about our fan base.
Well, he's seen our fan base. So, because obviously he was the AD at Richmond for the last 2 years.
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm.
So I always remember his comment the night we got beat by Mount New Pal in that one game. He says, "Well, there goes our gate for the rest of the week." So,
Yeah.
but as I told him, you know, he knows how crazy our fans can be about basketball, and they do travel well. So a little bit of road construction in between here and there. So figure out how you want to go. But around Martinsville, 37 is torn up, and it's a terrible mess. And Coach Brown and I hopped down 3 to North Vernon and around and got on 50 and just took the straight across 50. I know it's a little bit longer because you got to go through Seymour and you got to go through Bedford, but you can pass through a few other high schools. You can see Brownstown Central. You can see the Shoals Jug Rocks on the way, and pass through Bar Reeves High School, which is also playing in the regional, 2A school right there, or single A school right outside of Washington before you get there. So.
Another route would be 46 through Nashville and Bloomington and pick up 69 and down in Bloomington.
If you get south of Martinsville, then you're okay if you can get to 69, and obviously the Washington exit is right off the 69. So if you can figure out how to get over to 69 going south of Martinsville, you'll be okay as well.
All right. Any other things we need to know about once we get there? Parking is
very sparse.
Similar to
maybe
what we have here.
There's a small public parking spot, I believe, on the southeast corner. There's an elementary school about a block north of where the Army's on the north side of the building. There's an elementary school on the other side that they said they can park in. But for the most part, if you read the ConnersvilleAthletics.com site, I put out information. Let's say, please follow the rules, because we got a nice long letter from the Washington City Police Department of what will happen if you do not follow those rules, and they will tell you which towing company took your car. So be careful about the yellow lines and the crosswalks, and not parking in front of driveways and hydrants and all those things.
Just as you should anytime.
Exactly. But,
right.
you know, I don't know how strict they'll be, but it was pretty much when you get the letter from the city police department at the sectional meeting, it must be pretty serious. So.
And start times has been a little bit confusing, depending on what site you looked at. Might share that. And then also remember the ticket is normally it was good for both games.
It's just good for the one.
But it's only good for our game. You can't go watch both games with that ticket you purchased.
Correct. It's kind of odd. The game one with Silver Creek and Heritage Hills is going to actually start at 10:30 a.m. And ours will be approximately 12:30 a.m. But they will clean the
p.m.
PMs. Yeah. I hope it's not a.m. 12:30 p.m. But they'll take time after the first game is over and clean it. So it'll be at least 20 minutes. 15 to 20 minutes, he said, between times, by the time they empty the gym and clean it and let people come in for the next game. So you'll have to stand outside, and hopefully it'll be nice weather. And they said if it was too bad, they had the junior high gyms right there where they can get people inside to get them out of the rain. But hopefully we'll have all of our 2,000 tickets will be gone and become by Thursday. So, and he may or may not have some at the door. He wasn't sure yet. So we'll know that by Friday morning.
How many Sullivan may have, I don't know. I don't know what their fan base might be like.
Well, Sullivan's obviously the closest school to Washington. They're probably within inside the hour, and then Heritage Hills is a little over an hour. Of course, Charlestown's about 2 to 2.5 probably, since they're down by Jeffersonville. So
Silver Creek.
Yeah, I said Charlestown, Silver Creek. They're right there together.
They're all down in there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the ticket that you buy Thursday, between now and Thursday, will only get you into the 12:30 game. Then you'll have to rebuy the ticket for the nighttime game. But there also is a potential pep rally for Thursday night at 6 at the Bowl. Open to the public. Hopefully we'll stay blue tomorrow. If we stay blue tomorrow, that's 2 consecutive weeks, so we can get a few more people into the Bowl for that. We'll also bring Evan Schaefer and Quentin Jones and Allison Hoffman to be recognized for their accomplishments in the last 2 to 3 weeks, so they'll be part of that as well. Band will be there. It'll be something short and sweet with the cheerleaders and Spartanettes, and we'll have our 2 high school MCs doing the Nathan Shaw and Bailey Schneider will take care of the MC of the program. And
Great.
From what I've seen, it's well planned, and hopefully it'll be another thing that our kids are involved with, that they get to run and kind of put their own stamp on it as part of what they put together as a pep rally for our team and our kids who've done well, but run by the students, which is ultimately what you want to have done anyway.
Exactly. Any talk of a caravan going down? I know that's a long way to do one. We've done them before going into Southport back when the girls were playing in the semi-state there, and I remember doing them on the way to Greensburg before. But
it's a little different just because of the drive time. So teams traveling down on Friday night. So they'll be leaving school, and they'll get down there around 5:30 or 6, and they'll get to the hotel and practice from 7 to 8, and then I think it's a little trip to Vincennes for dinner and back to the hotel. So, you know, I assume that many people will be leaving on Saturday morning, and I have not. I don't know if they want to meet somewhere and go, but for the most part, the team's going to be gone. The cheerleaders are going to leave early, so everybody that's participating in the event's going to be already down there. So nobody really to follow all the way there, but if somebody wants to organize a caravan and take a group of people.
Well, I thought you needed something else to do.
Well, I'll be down there on Friday night, so I'm going to be another set of eyes on the kids down there on Friday night. So
and that's a good thing.
Not that I don't think
we don't expect anything, but
it never helps to have two more eyes watching.
That's right.
So it's an exciting time, and it was it's just as exciting watching Evan out on the mat and Quentin in the pool, and Allison represented us well last Saturday at Columbus East in the regional. Unfortunately, she didn't get to advance to the state meet this coming Saturday, but thanks to Kerry Brown, I don't have to work the state finals of the gymnastics at Ball State. Just got to move a little mats on Friday afternoon, as most people don't know that the college mats are different sizes than the high school mats. So us, Columbus, North, and Valparaiso provide all the matting for the IHSA state finals and have for years. So,
oh, really? Didn't know that.
No, not everybody knows what goes on behind the scenes. So we just take care of things and get them
You
done.
are a busy guy.
So we'll get those all loaded up with Coach Borders on Thursday night and Brian, and we'll get those transported to Ball State on Friday.
Very good.
So
I'd like to take a look now at some final scores here from area teams. Of course, Connorsville, now 17-7. We defeated South Dearborn 39-37. And Greensburg 46-35 to win that sectional 29. Rushville finished 1-20. They lost to Greensburg in the sectional 64-14. Franklin County finished 7-14, losing to Batesville 40-21. Richmond finished 10-10. They beat they lost to Mount Vernon 40-34. Cambridge City Lincoln 8-13 was defeated by Shenandoah 57-23. Centerville 8-14. They fell to Northeastern, a good Northeastern team, by 40, 65-25. Union County, they ended up 10-14, defeated Knightstown 55-36, and was eliminated by Eastern Hancock 84-56. Some regionals of note here in the area, or teams that we know a little bit about. In 4A at Southport, Lawrence North at 25-2 will play Ben Davis 14-11. Mount Vernon, the winner of the Richmond sectional, they're 17-6. They'll go up against Plainfield, they're 23-2. In 2A at Greenfield Central, Park Heritage 24-3 plays Triton Central, and they are 13-8. Shenandoah 24-3, very fine basketball team. They go against Covenant Christian, that is 22-4. That should be a good one. And in 1A at Frankfort, Cowan 15-8. They play Lafayette Central Catholic 8-10. Seems like LCC's always in that.
No matter what their record.
No matter what their record, and they're one of a few teams under 500 in the regional this week. Seton Catholic 9-9. They'll play Southwood, that are 15-10, and finally, what we've been talking about in 3A at Washington, number 4 Heritage Hills at 19-3 has number 2 Silver Creek at 21-4 in the first game, and then at approximately 12:30, sometime around there, number 15 Connorsville 17-7 will go against number 7 Sullivan 21-3, and the rankings according to the AP. So,
if you want to read the Segrin ratings, then there's a little different.
It's a little different.
2, 4, 8, and 10.
That's all due to numbers and not
numbers
subjective.
And schedules and who you play, and you know, obviously our record's not as good, but we play a pretty tough schedule. We've lost to some tough teams along the year, and
according to Sagarin, we've got the second toughest strength of schedule of any 3A team left in the tournament, and the toughest in the regional down there. But you still got to go out and play the games.
As Kerry and I talked, coming back from or going down to Washington, whichever one was, you know, you got to play those different teams to get to where you want to be when you come to tournament time. You got to play the athletic teams. You got to play the teams that slow it down, the teams that play the fast pace, and you got to see if you can make them play your game. And I think for the most part, we've been able to accomplish that.
And we have.
Over the years, not just this year.
Right.
And going back and forth between 3 and 4A, it's tough to juggle the schedule. This players on there. Hopefully, it prepares for whichever tournament you're in.
And I think our fans like playing those schools, Lawrence North, and this year we had McCutcheon and Noblesville, and you know, beat McCutcheon, very competitive with Noblesville and Lawrence North as well, and possession here or there, we could have won those games. But, and you're right, we don't know from year to year what's going to happen. These startup schools, they come in and they get become part of the IHSA and are tournament eligible. That changes where we are. You know, we talked about having the best defensive average in the state, but that one school above us isn't even tournament eligible.
Right, right.
So it really doesn't mean anything at this point that we have the best defensive average in the state.
Of the IHSA schools.
Of the IHSA schools. So we just don't know. I know enrollment probably hasn't increased any, but it depends on what other schools do as well. And
well, there's 410 member schools right now, so when you start thinking about splitting that out evenly, you're talking about 102 and a half schools in each class. So where do we fall in that rank of 102 to 103, and where does the cut line fall? So every time somebody comes in, everything's, well, we've dropped to 3A, but when new people comes in, the lines get bigger because you got more room in them. So then you encompass more people into that group. So we'll find out here about April to May where we're going to fall come stat-wise.
And teams that have success factor for a few years and then maybe change or move into success, that can change.
Yeah, well, anymore they agreed a couple years ago that if, let's just say that the success factor moves a 2A to a 3A, they're not going to bump the small 3A back down. They're going to stay in 3A. So many of the coaches didn't think it was fair that a 3A gets to come down to 2A just because a 2A had to move up to 3A, and that 2A may be down at the bottom. And I'll use Bar Riva as an example. They're going to have a hard time staying down because they've been pretty solid. So they're going to probably move the next time, but you know they're not going to push a 2A down to the next level because a 1A's coming up.
I've never understood that success factor though, and we could debate this all night long. It's success on the previous team. If you graduate all your players and you come in and you start over, then that group of kids are penalized.
Yep.
It happens, and there's lots of different reasons for it. But I know they changed the rules now. If you attain 2 points over 2 years, you're going to stay in the class because if you've moved up and you've won back-to-back sectionals, you're still pretty darn good. So helps a little bit at that where people move schools and shift schools and get there, but it doesn't prevent it all.
Well, I want to switch back to the upcoming weekend here and talk about Sullivan, the Golden Arrows of Sullivan. What can you tell us about them, Coach?
They're 21-3. They've got a big kid, 6'5", 6'6". I don't know any of these guys' names. I probably saw them and haven't committed them to memory yet, but I think his last name's actually Hills. But he'll be someone we'll have to contest. And then they've got a really good point guard, so Toby's going to have his hands full, or whoever ends up drawing that assignment. And then they've got, one of the things that really impresses me, they've got some shooters. They got some guys that stretch the floor. Well, one for sure starts, the other one comes off the bench, and then their point guard can drive it and shoot it. Then their fifth starter's kind of just a glue guy, rebounder, passer, does all the little things. But they're not real deep from what I've seen thus far, maybe 7 deep. So in some ways, they remind you a little bit of Greensburg in fact that they shoot it well, they can put it on the deck, and they probably have a guy inside that might be a little bit better than anybody Greensburg would have played back to basket. So they're a little bit different from that respect, but they're kind of athletic. They're probably not as big as Greensburg overall. Their guards are about 5'10", a couple of them, but point guard really impresses me. Their shooters really impress me, and we'll watch more tape between now and Thursday. You and I were talking before. I'm not going to peek at Silver Creek or Heritage Hills. I've given those assignments to the assistants, and all I'm going to focus on is Sullivan right now and see that we can get by that first game. And if I feel comfortable Thursday night, then I might start peeking at Silver Creek and or Heritage.
Well, like we talked about, like you said, survive and advance. So you can't prepare for the second one until you won the first one.
It's just one game at a time, and we've got good assistants. And for example, in the sectional, I took South Dearborn, and Charles and actually JD kind of floated, but Charles had just had Lawrenceburg at the end of the season, so he stayed with them. And then Chris Bottomley actually had Greensburg. So I trust my assistants. You know, if we've played them already, there was something to go by, something to go on. But it's just too much for one person to do if you're going to be thoroughly prepared. So I delegate and I give them those responsibilities, and they've done a great job all year.
We have no common opponents with Sullivan that I've
No,
that I can say,
nor, well, nor Silver Creek, I don't think, nor Heritage Hills. I mean, we're traveling 165 miles. Sullivan's over by Terre Haute, my understanding. I'd never been to Washington before the other day. And then Silver Creek's down close to Jeffersonville, and Heritage Hills is over by Evansville. So I don't think we have any common opponents with any of them, to my knowledge.
The way that's spread out in a regional that far, reminds me of the old semi-state. The way you would come that far for a semi-state. But, not that way these days.
Well,
and it's population centers.
You know, we're smiling all week, and we're going to smile all the way down there for 165 miles because, like I told you, you know, the alternative is we're not playing.
We sat at home listening to it on the radio.
Yeah, so
when you think about now, it's back then, you're truly in what used to be the old semi-state with 16 teams left. You know, and then you had, back then you had a 2-day affair, or a 1-day affair with 2 games, and then the next week you had the 2, but now we do a single and a single. So.
Yeah, Coach, to your point, if it was 250 miles, we'd go. I'd be glad to go. Yeah. Sure would. So a lot of people you know, on social media, I see them say, well, Newcastle's holding a regional and they're 30 miles away. Why can't we go there? Well, it just geographically, the way they have to lay things out, it just doesn't work that way.
Well, I think
they're north.
I thought a lot of it when Jake County dropped from 4A to 3A probably shoved us back to the south. I think if Jake County would have stayed 4A, we would have probably went north, and then we would go on to South Bend. If you happen to get past this weekend, we'll be going higher.
Which would be farther yet.
So,
but if you look at Northwood come to Newcastle for the regional? I mean, I don't know how far that is. It's not as far as we're traveling, but it's a pretty good haul for them. So they've got some teams coming from a pretty good distance as well.
And depending on who advances out of this regional this week, will determine where the semi-state. It could either be back at the Hatchet House or it could be at Seymour. Just depends on which teams are playing.
I would say though, if when we're fortunate to win, that
you can say that as a broadcast.
Right.
We'll stay focused on the Sullivan Arrows.
But I would think that we would play at Seymour if
it depends on who's coming out the other places, out of the Greencastle, and whether it's a 2A that comes in with us or a 1A or whichever other schools come to that section. It just depends on where we're all geographically located at. So.
Be nice for us to get to experience that, Jim, too.
Yes.
Our boys haven't been there either.
No, been a long time since, well,
we have. Us old guys have. But the young guys haven't, and that's a historic gym as well.
It is. It sure is.
We were talking about that today outside their auditorium. They have a picture of of all the people that has come out of Seymour to do all the great things, and they're all dressed in their tie and their coat and their dress or whatever. And somewhere down about row 10 or 12, there's this guy in this leather jacket with a white T-shirt with his hair greased back.
Mellencamp.
It would be Mellencamp. Everybody else is in a suit and a tie or a dress or outfit or something.
Yeah. So. And but who's made more money? That guy with that leather jacket on.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, sure has. So
just, unique place.
It is, and what a great time of year, and great for our community. But,
yeah, I hope a lot of people come out Thursday and wish the 3 kids well that did well in their own individual events. Give our basketball team and the cheerleaders a good send-off. And
the time for that again?
6 p.m. till maybe we're going to try to be done at 6:45 because we got something going on in the bowl at 7, so we got to get everybody cleared out before 7. So and lock the doors down. So hopefully we'll be in there 6 to 6:30 and we'll be out so the kids can get home and get their stuff ready for Friday and get ready for school and be ready to go on Friday when time to get on the bus and head out.
All right. Well, gentlemen, appreciate you coming in, and best wishes for you for the rest of the week, getting all this coordinated, and best wishes for you and your team and
thank you,
your coaching staff, and Dave and I will be down there, and I'll be sure to come and find you, and we'll talk before the game.
I'm sure we will. Thanks again.
All right. Thanks again, everybody, for watching this edition of Spartan Sports Report.